Hello students, I am your science teacher Preeti ma'am and I am going to teach you chapter number 3 of standard 8 synthetic materials in daily life. And this is our part 3, means in the earlier two sessions I had taught you about natural and synthetic fibers, and then I had taught you about the blended fabrics. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the plastics, types of plastics, means we will be discussing about the thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. We will be discussing about some of the properties of the plastics and the plastics and the environment. So these are the four topics that we are going to study. Now plastics. Students, plastics are synthetic polymers. The monomers in plastic are either linked in straight chains, means they are without links between the chains, or they are cross-linked, means with links in between the chains to form a polymer. Polythene is an example of the straight chain polymer. While I can give you that vulcanized rubber is the example of cross-linked polymer. Now about the different types of plastics or types of plastics. Students, plasticity. Plasticity is the property by which an object can be molded, it can be given shape and retain shape after molding. So plastics can be molded into shape when soft. The objects will remain in its new shape unless any force or another force changes it. And plastics, they can be melted and made into different shapes also. We can melt it and we can make it into different shapes. Students, there are two types of plastics. One is the thermoplastics and the other is the thermosetting plastics. Thermoplastic. Thermoplastics are made of straight chain polymers, or they may be very lightly cross-linked polymers. This class of plastics can be melted and molded into desired shapes again and again. Polythene, which is also called as polyethylene. Teflon, PVC means polyvinyl chloride. Perspex belong to this category of plastics, means thermoplastics. Thermosetting. Thermosetting plastics are made of polymers in which the monomers are highly cross-linked. They are cross-linked. This class of plastics can be melted and it can be set into shape only once. They cannot be melted and molded repeatedly. Melamine, bakelite, they are the examples of thermosetting plastics. Let us discuss some of the properties of the plastics then. Plastics, they have so many varied uses today that they are manufactured with special features in mind. Plastics are light in weight and yet they are very strong. They can be thick and rigid, or they can even be thin and flexible. They can be transparent. Transparent means we can see through it. And they can also be opaque, means light cannot pass through it. We cannot see to the other side through this. They are also waterproof, and these are generally cheaper than most of the other fabrics. Plastics do not react with air or water, means we can say that they are resistant to corrosion. Therefore, they are often used to store chemicals and other substances. They are also resistant to insects and bacteria. Plastics are good insulators of heat and electricity. And this is the reason why plastic is used to make covers of electrical wires and handles of cookwares and in most of the different ways. In detail, let us study about some of the plastics, what are its characters and where are they used. Polythene or polyethylene. This plastic, it is water resistant, it is strong and flexible, and it can be made into sheets or molded into shapes. And what are its uses? It is used to make the packing materials. It high density polyethylene means HDPE containers to store the corrosive materials, chemicals like the acids and the bleach. And low density polyethylene means LDPE. They are used to make the shopping bags, food protecting films, and shower curtains, and so on. PET, polyethylene terephthalene, and it does not let water or gas through it, and it is also heat resistant. And PET, it is used to make the containers, utensils, sheets, cassettes, and so on. Cassette tapes and so on. It is also used in the spacecraft and spacesuits for insulation. PVC or polyvinyl chloride. Its properties, its characters, they are rigid and they are strong. They are good insulators. They are resistant to heat and weather. Nothing happens to it. And where are these used? They are used in the construction of water pipes, insulating covers of electrical wires, and so on. And they are also used to make the floor covering and the raincoats also. Some more plastics and their uses. Thermocol. It can be easily molded. It is quite strong also, and it is good insulator. And it is used to make packing material for the electric and electronic items. Also used as insulation inside the walls of the refrigerators and to make the disposable plates and cups. Teflon. This type of plastic does not react with the chemicals. It is quite slippery, slips from the hand, and it does not affect, or it is not affected by the heat. So where is it used? So as it is not affected by the heat and it is slippery, so it is used to make a non-stick coating in the cookwares. And it is used to make low friction bearings also. perspex. This is strong and transparent like glass. It is used to make the windscreens of cars, windows of aeroplanes, and so on. And it is also used as a substitute for the glass. Melamine. It is hard and smooth, hard yet it is smooth, and it is used to make floor tiles and kitchenware. Bakelite, another type of plastic. It is a good electrical and heat insulator, and it is used to make the plugs, the switches, and the handles in the cookware. Now, plastics and environment. Plastics have wide range of domestic and industrial uses, but they are usually not biodegradable. Means they do not degrade, they do not mix with the soil, they take lots and lots of years to degrade. They cannot be decomposed by microorganisms, and therefore they pose a threat to the environment. They are quite harmful to our environment. Plastics cannot be broken down or they cannot be decomposed by bacteria or any other organism. And such substances, students, they are called as non-biodegradable substances. And they accumulate as junk and they litter the surroundings. They dirty the surroundings. They get buried in the ground over the years, and as a result, rainwater cannot percolate through the soil. Rainwater cannot pass through the soil. And this leads to lowered water table. Plastics cannot be decomposed or disposed of by burning, as they give out poisonous gas. And storing food in plastic containers for a long time is quite harmful. Why? Because toxic chemicals and dyes which are present in it can leach from the containers, can go from the containers into the food and thus harm to us also. Animals, they eat plastics and they die. And plastic wastes that are dumped in water bodies can affect the aquatic life also. So what should be done to prevent all this? To prevent the environmental degradation by plastics, we should adopt the 4 R's. Which are the 4 R's? Refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Avoid using plastic items as far as possible. We can carry the steel lunch boxes and the metal pencil boxes instead of the plastic ones. Use cotton or jute bags instead of plastic ones. We can reuse the plastic bags, the bottles, and the boxes to reduce the amount of plastic waste that is generated. Do not throw plastics into water bodies or on the ground. Collect and dispose of biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste separately, as you know that. And recycle the plastics. Thermoplastics such as PET can be recycled and can be made into new items. And thus we come to the end of the chapter also and to the end of the topic also. These are some of the questions that you are going to write in your books. What kind of plastic would you use to design the casing of the electric plug and why? What is the high density polyethylene used for? What is PET and what is it used for? What are the uses of thermocol? Why are plastics an environmental hazard? Why are they what creates problem in the environment? That you are going to write. List the 4 R's to reduce environmental degradation by the plastics. And thus we come to the end of the chapter, end of the topic. If you like my teaching, then you can like me, subscribe me and share my channel. So thank you. Bye bye for now.